something so.
Okay, class, take a look. Okay. So class, basically, remember that we are still in the sixth parami. We already finished. Yeah, we already finished pyramid of giving. Okay, pyramid of giving, pyramid of precept. Okay, then pyramid of patience, pyramid of the virya. So class, we are still in the pyramid of the samadhi concentration. Okay, so I remember that in the previous lesson we talked about the obstacle for the meditation. Okay, so now today we keep on. Let's take a look, class. In the previous lesson, we are in the verse 151. Okay, in 511, let's take a look. Let me do a little bit of recapitulations. Okay, 151, in the great vehicle, most people practice mindfulness of the Buddha and the mindfulness of the breathing. Yes, class, in Mahayana, we are considered Mahayana great vehicle. Basically, mindfulness of the Buddha and also mindfulness of the breathing is more common. But the way we see in the present Mahayana environment, it seems that the breathing, anapanasati, is not that common, especially for Chinese group of Mahayana. So Chinese group Mahayana is chanting the Buddha name. Well, there's still some gap between the mindfulness of the Buddha, the merit of the Buddha, and also chanting the name of the Buddha. So there's still some gap a little bit there. Anyway, we just, but theoretically, meaning to say that Mahayana at that time, they are very common in this, for this chanting Buddha name. Okay, so class, let's have a look. This is a little bit how is the Mahayana, how did the Mahayana strategically located? Let's take a look. This is the India. Class, according to the history of Buddhism, the Andhra Pradesh is the origin of the Mahayana. Andhra Pradesh, according to some history of Buddhism. So this is where is the origin of the Mahayana. So the Mahayana definition means the Madhyamaka and the Yogacara. Especially this is the Madhyamaka. And then the Mahayana, they start to moving from here, they go to this part, and then later on, they're really established in Afghanistan and the Pakistan. So class, remember that in ancient time, the Northwest Indian Pakistan and Afghanistan is under the colonization of the Indian. It's under their, it is their boundary. Okay, so Mahayana is quite flourishing. Especially in this area. Okay, they integrate together with the other culture at the same time, especially from Rome. Okay, so we start to have a sculpture of the Buddha, many things here. Then after some development of the Mahayana Buddhism, they start to spread to the Xinjiang. So before the rise up of the Muslim, actually the whole Xinjiang is under Buddhism influence. Okay, for about 1,100 years. But since the race of the Muslim are all gone already. Then from here, the Buddhism spreading from the Middle East to Xinjiang, then go to the China. So now we talk about, we say, oh, Mahayana, they are very common in the mindfulness of Buddha. Possible, it is common in the area of the northwest part, northwest part of India. Maybe it's from that area. So from there, they start to spread, go to the China, and the methods start to changing. So they start to change from recollection the Buddha virtue and turns out become a chanting the Buddha name, because our Chinese monk already do some adaptation to the method. Okay. Elena, Mr. Leong, are you still there? Can you reply to me?
I'm still there, but sorry, I will stop the video at my side for today's class.
Not convenience, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that will be fine. Okay,
yeah.
Mr. Leong, are you okay? Reply me, Mr. Leong. On the mic, please, Mr. Leong. Oh, there you are badly frozen. Huh? Don't on the camera. Just reply me will be fine. Huh? Okay. Huh? Okay. So let's take a look. Huh? So, Elena, are you convenient to read without the? Are you still convenient to read, Elena? Huh?
Yes, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, so 152. Can you please start? Do the reading?
Okay. Mindfulness of a Buddha comes from focusing the mind on the real Buddha, not on a statue of a Buddha. To settle the mind by contemplating the form of a Buddha, one should be familiar with various skillful means. One should know that practice that takes mindfulness of a Buddha as the object of focus is mental practice. Even the ordinary mindfulness of a Buddha, inattentively chanting his name, emphasizes the mind, although not as much as focusing on the form of a Buddha to practice cessation. In the beginning of one's practice, one should observe and cling to the good form of a Buddha. Even though it may be difficult to have this form arise in one's mind and keep it there firmly, one should nevertheless practice by looking at an image of a Buddha. Practicing cessation and achieving concentration is a function of the mind's consciousness. Being in a state of concentration in which the mind does not associate with the five sensory consciousness. Practicing mindfulness by having the eye consciousness grabs the form of an external object has the effect of keeping the mind stuck on the outer gateway, that of the senses. One will definitely not enter concentration. One should know that when one's mind is collected inward, the form of the object upon which one's mind is being focused is an image that is established by consciousness. This is so not just for the mindfulness of a Buddha. All the practices related to the cessation take the image of an object established by consciousness as a means to achieve calm abiding. When some of those who practice cessation experience some mild tranquility in which the five sensory consciousness are in a state of equality, without the differentiation of conjecture and thinking, they believe that they have attained the concentration that is without differentiation. But this is very wrong.
Okay, thank you so much. Elena, today your reading is so nice. You're just like a news broadcaster.
Today, short 到嗰條線啱咗。
Sally, you finished? Please thumb up. Okay, thank you. Okay, we start the explanation after some more reading. Elena, no, Sally, your turn, please. When?
When one begins one's practice, one should have a clear image of the form of a Buddha, for which one can use a stone or a wooden statue or a portrait. One should focus on this image to collect the mind. During practice, however, one should think that the image one focused on is a real Buddha, and not the statue of the Buddha made from wood, stone, etc. Only in this way can one succeed. When one does so, a Buddha will visualize emitting light and expounding the Dharma. If one practices with the thought that this Buddha is a statue of a Buddha, these virtues will be lost. One should be familiar with many skillful methods that are used to contemplate the form of Buddha. To keep the mind steadfast, be familiar with various skillful means. It is said, for example, when one takes mindfulness in the form of a Buddha, one's initial practice, it is not necessary to have the image to be too refined. Having a general image of a particular Buddha is good enough. When the form of that particular Buddha arises, gradually becomes steady. If a certain part is particularly distinct, one may focus on that part in order to practice. This practice can be compared to cutting bamboo. Once the initial node is cut, the rest will easily split open. Likewise, when contemplating the form of Buddha, if the general form is stable and distinct, one can then contemplate the refined form. When the power of one's mind gets stronger, even the contemplation of those forms of Buddhas described in the Abhidhammatasangha Sutra and elsewhere may be accomplished in one's practice.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh, never mind. I can stop here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Leong, if you finish highlight, please try to thumb up by Zoom. Use the list response. Hopefully you are there without hanging. Yeah, Mr. Leong, can you just thumb up with Zoom? Let me see. You can respond. Or sometimes you can use texting. Elena have raised up her hand already. Okay, So Mr. Leong, are you able to do so? Wherever icon doesn't matter. Okay, maybe you don't know how to use it. Okay. Okay, class, in order to begin with this part, okay, I want you all to do an experiment. Okay, yes, okay, take a look to the screen. You will see this is the Amitabha. Please open your eye and try to visualize the Amitabha in your mind. Then close your eye and try to make it as long as possible. Okay, so I give you 1 to 2 minutes and try it out. You can start now. Okay. Okay, time's up. Okay, let me check out from you. Okay, Sally can explain how I mean, just now it's about 1 minute to me. Okay, can image appear 100% or just partially, Sally?
Actually, it can appear, but then the dot here is the one which is most bright.
Okay, you mean the whole picture is able to appear, the whole Buddha? Okay.
It's able to.
Okay, it is persistent for 1 minute just now.
Just ending part disappear.
Okay. Anyway, quite persistent now. Okay. Yes, good. How about Elena? Can you describe just now how is your meditation?
Not very successful, Sifu.
Okay. Yes, not very successful. Meaning to set it on and off. Shall I know? Maybe certain part of success. Okay. Is this the image fully appear or just partial only?
I don't see the image. To me, it's kind of like but it's kind of black, but then it's not pitch black, that kind of black. And it's like from very far distant. I don't know whether there's a light there or not. I don't know.
Okay. Hey.
Like a very far. I just feel that there's like a very far distant.
Sorry.
I don't know. I don't think it's that. Hey, I don't think I achieve anything.
Yeah. Sorry, just now you mentioned black color, but my screen is in red color. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Right. So we can say that not successful. It's a failure. Okay. Never mind. Okay, Mr. Leong, can you try to report? Yes, Mr. Leong. Okay. Maybe Mr. Leong, you just try to text me a message. Make me know that you are there. That will be fine, Mr. Leong. Maybe he doesn't know how to text. Okay, so I just explain now. Okay, well, basically, what we try to do is try to, do according to the text, is the contemplation, visualization of the Buddha in order to get the samadhi and concentration. Okay, well, just now you see, okay, just now we try to visualize it, but before we make it appear in our mind, it has to be appeared in our eye consciousness in the first place. Meaning to say that we use our eye to capture the image and we try to maintain the image in our mind. Is this correct? Okay. Well, we must close our eyes to visualize it in our mind if you do the meditation. If you don't do this process, you don't visualize it by closing your eye, you will never attain any samadhi by using the eye consciousness. Do you get it? So this is why closing the eyes is so important. But if without watching the image, you close your eyes, nothing can appear. Like Elena, even Elena watched the image, but it still doesn't appear. Because it could be worse if you don't watch it, you totally cannot make things appear. Okay, so this is the point number one. Okay, second, once you try to visualize it, okay, according to the text, if let's say you are success, basically, it's not necessary to be very clear the whole picture if you are not able to do so. So meaning to say that just now the picture, maybe the head is more clearer, and then the rest of the body is very blurred. It doesn't matter because we are still in the very beginning stage, so it is forgivable. Okay, but once you found that the head is getting clearer, so you should try to keep on making it clearer, clearer, and clearer. And once the head is very clear already, you can start to visualize it to the lower part of the body until to the whole part of the body. So that will be the right way. So since Elena, you fail, but maybe next time, Elena, you should try. You can how to say? You can don't demand highly. Just maybe just do partial only. Okay. Whereas for Sally, you can aim for the whole shape already, since the whole thing can appear in in your mind already. So do you get it? But for Sally, okay, even though this is we get the image from the screen, but you have to take it as a real one. So this is the third point. Why? Because this is the virtue contemplation in Mahayana. So you have to assume that the real Buddha is there. Okay, with light shining. So Sally, just now you try to imagine that there will be some light appear. In the Ajna Chakra, I think you make things right because you try to assume that this is a real Buddha. Am I right, Sally? So you do so. So number third one, so Sally, you get the right thing only. So for Elena, so next time you have to try just to visualize partial, maybe the head or which part is more obvious for you. You prefer that part, so you make it appear. Okay, that will be fine. Okay. So these are a few things you have to remember for the visualization. Okay, so let's take a look. So let me go back to the original text. Okay. So this is the things. Okay, sure. I know. Before my explanation, by reading just now the text, Sally, can you understand? Do you understand the way as what I was talking about? It's quite same, right? Okay, quite same. Meaning to say that the language is not the problem. Okay. So class, because you got experience also, you see, you need to say in the very beginning, you have to cling to the good form of the Buddha. Okay, we start from the very beginning. You see how. So anyway, once we start to take a look, we use an image. All right. Then, the mind doesn't associate with the five sensory, especially the eye consciousness. You have to, because if you use the outer gateway, you're not able to enter concentration. So meaning to say, we have to begin establish the image in the consciousness. That will be correct. So for those who meditate always opening the eye, it's not the right. If let's say they feel docile, they can open the eye just to encounter the problem. But once the problem has been settled, you have to open your eye. Okay, you have to close your eye. All right. Okay, then you see, without the differentiation of the conjecture and the thinking, so meaning to say that you start to, people may think that those who practice the cessation experience with the somehow tranquility, that thought this is the differentiation of conjecture and thinking. He said this is wrong. It's not the no without differentiation. Basically, differentiation, we may think that it is like without differentiation means without analyzing. Okay, so in the Buddhism, without the differentiation is a quite high of the wisdom. Okay, but here we shouldn't use without differentiation. People misunderstood that this is without differentiation. Actually, different without differentiation is quite clear, quite close to the Nibbana already. So the author said, well, this is wrong. Okay, say for which we should use the stone and the wooden statue as a portrait. So one is focused on is a real Buddha. You have to take it as a real Buddha. So you have to visualize emitting the light, expounding the Dharma. That's what Sally do. It's not necessary to have the image to be too refined, not necessary. So if certain part is particularly distinct, they will be fine already. Okay. Then once it becomes stable, then we contemplate further. Okay. Then the form of the Buddha we can describe like in the Abhidhammatasangha Sutra. Abhidhammatasangha Sutra means the Huayan Jing. Then later on, when it is stable, we can contemplate like in Abhidhammatasangha Sutra. Okay, class, I think, hey, Sally,